Hey guys, check this out. Look what's happening behind me. I don't think I've been this excited for a long time because we have the 2020 4Runner out here in Moab on Hell's.
You have to listen to you talk to yourself. You know?
I'm a millennial.
No,
I have to do this.
Just do the work, okay?
That is my friend and long time contributor to Car and Driver, John Pearly Huffman. And Toyota flew us and a bunch of other journalists out to Moab, Utah to experience the new Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro on Hell's Revenge. For 2020, there are several different TRD 4Runner models, and that one is the most special, the most off-road worthy. This is the 2020 4Runner TRD Pro, and what is the Pro? Well, the Pro, like I mentioned, is the hardest core of the TRD 4Runner. So, you get some special goodies. Starting in the front, you have Toyota script along the grille instead of the Toyota emblem, which I think looks really cool. You also, down here, that's right, big ol' TRD bash plate as well. You have a unique set of 17-inch TRD Pro wheels. These are the Nitto Terra Grappler tires. I think they're about a 32-inch tire in diameter. The biggest improvement on the TRD Pros versus the TRD Off-Road, well, it has to be suspension. Because the TRD Pro gets the Fox 2.5-inch piggyback shocks. But enough talking, let's get into the trail. Now I can't actually tell you how this new 4Runner drives because driving impressions are under embargo, but I can certainly show you. Hell's Revenge is one of the pinnacle, one of the classic Moab slick rock trails, and it's difficult. It starts out with a steep and grippy climb up a slick rock mountain. But just 20 feet down the trail, things get difficult with a dive down into a little valley. And it's steep, articulated, and you can really see the solid axle work. Okay, so I'm on Hell's Revenge here. I'm gonna play with some of the gizmos in the 4Runner. First of all, low range, and I'm gonna engage my crawl control on the slow speed. I like to think of crawl control sort of like an off-road cruise control. Now I've got slow, slow-ish, medium-ish, and fast. So I'm in my second to slowest speed, about to go down this pretty deep descent here. According to Toyota, it helps maintain a constant speed in slow speed off-road situations, enhancing vehicle control while driving up, over, or down obstacles. The other cool thing I have is an automatic transmission with selectable ranges, so I can go ahead and stick it in first gear as well and slow the vehicle down even more. The current 5th generation 4Runner has been around since 2010, and for the 2020 model year, it's received a very mild facelift. In fact, check out the 2019 next to the 2020. From the outside, it's very hard to tell them apart. Maybe a little bit of difference in the front end, but there's not a lot going on the outside. The biggest changes are, well, it's on the inside. So, you have push button start now. In all of the more expensive 4Runners, you also have an 8-inch screen with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and Alexa compatibility, which is huge. Along the side, there are new colors actually for the TRD Pros. Voodoo Blue, if you love that color, I did, it's gone. But it's been replaced with an army green. Check out what it looks like on the Tacoma. This one, of course, is the white one. TRD Pro badging along the side. Of course, if you get the Tacoma, one of the classic options is the desert air intake. It looks like a snorkel, it's not, it's an air intake, but pretty cool stuff. On the 4Runner, it's not an option. You do, however, get this pretty rad roof rack up here, which is good for holding off-road gear, camping gear, you know, the usual stuff you come to expect. Other stuff, well, check this out. These are pretty much the same tires as last year. They're Nitto Terra grapplers. Wheels are pretty much the same. Badging is the same. Out back though, we have a new exhaust system, the TRD exhaust system, and listen to what it sounds like. As we make our way along the Hell's Revenge trail, we are really able to test some of the 4Runner's party tricks, such as the manually locking rear diff, which is standard on TRD Off-Road and TRD Pro models. What this means is that tricky situations like this crazy steep hill are made easy, because when one wheel goes in the air, momentum isn't lost. Under the hood and the mechanicals are a carryover from last year. So 4-liter V6, 270 horsepower, 278 pound-feet of torque, mated to a 5-speed automatic, but it does at least sound good through that TRD exhaust. Nothing too special under there. You will see a TRD hood scoop there, which is non-functional, but that's been non-functional for a while there. So, what do you guys think of the outside? Let me know in the comment section below. Let's have a peek on the inside on some of the more useful improvements. On the inside, there are some big improvements for the 4Runner. Well, they may seem minor, but they actually do really improve drivability, starting with the way you start it up. So, push button start, which is a welcome addition. I'm gonna have to fire up the AC because we're out here in the middle of summer in Utah, and I am definitely feeling it. Now, the first thing you notice is the new 8-inch screen, which is a noticeable improvement over the last one. Maybe the dials have gotten a little bit smaller, but still easy to use. And now, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, big deal. So that's new. Of course, you still have your TRD shifter here, which is classic. You also have Toyota's safety sense system as standard. So I've got your usual automatic emergency braking, lane departure, all that jazz. I do love that they kept the old school low range transfer case lever. Man, that's satisfying. Love that. Lots of off-road tech going on there. So TPMS, we are aired down today on the trail, but I have rear diff lock engaged. I have A-track. I also have terrain response here with terrain management and of course crawl control. I also have multi-terrain select, which means I can dial the car in for rocks, for sand, for moguls, all sorts of different terrain. And in theory, it should get me up that terrain with the best use of traction control and throttle inputs, and it just really sets the car up for what you're doing. Okay, so falling over here. It's about 105 out here according to the vehicle, but we're doing well. So we have Kurt and Jackson up here. They are our trail leaders, and they're doing a great job of guiding us down some of these harder obstacles. And they're really the true MVPs of today because it is hot out here. There's no shade. It's Moab, but that's part of the fun. Okay, so I pulled off the trail here just to show one thing. Now, the 4Runner does have an independent front suspension setup. Check this out. Full flex back here on this rear tire, and there is actually a pretty decent amount of rear articulation. In the front, I do have independent front suspension, which is not as good off-road rock crawling as I think a solid axle is, but it's still very usable. So a little bit of a behind the scenes here on Hell's Revenge. We actually have two 4Runners with us today, both 2020s. One's a TRD Off-Road, one's a Pro, the white one that we've been talking about. We also have 4 Tacomas. So whenever you see these outside shots, I'm shooting them. So I've got journalist friends who are driving through the obstacles, which is pretty cool that they're doing that. I have had a chance to push it a little bit. I can't talk about what it's like to drive because driving impressions are embargoed until a later date, but I can certainly show you what they do going down some of this gnarly terrain.
Front's gonna drop, nice and slow. Good. Crawl it. Okay, back's gonna come down in about a foot. We'll just crawl that back down right now. Nice. You're out. Bring it a little to the passenger side. We'll pop that front end up, and then you can just turn right down and out of it. Okay, good work. Jackson, can you bring the support trucks all the way through?
Probably my favorite part of the 4Runner is the underbody protection. We of course have that big beefy bash plate in the front, but we also have a fuel tank skid plate, and that's really a great thing when off-road. One thing I'm not so happy about are the rockers, which are completely unprotected. Toyota, please give us rock rails or something from the factory. I mean, there's a lot of precious sheet metal. I hate the damage there. And we've got this cool new army green, which is in front of us, which is a really great color. I mean, how great would it look though with a big gash in the side of it? Probably not that great. If you're wondering when the 2020 4Runner will be in dealerships, Toyota says late September is when they're estimating right now. This of course is for the 2020 model year. And that's for both pros and non-pro models is what Toyota told me, which is pretty cool. Now I've got a full review coming of the Tacoma over at TFL Truck, so be sure to stay tuned for that. But as always, this has been Tommy with TFL Car. Go back to tflcar.com for more news, views, and real reviews.